Hi all, welcome back to my channel TechnoMonk. And recently I've created videos on GlideQuery API. Okay, I'm getting really good feedbacks on that particular front. And this particular tutorial is again on a scripting tutorial where we will be looking on three methods or three functions or API, whatever you want to call. Apply encoded query. Most of the people will be familiar about this, but I will cover that out in a short. Then we'll look into GlideFilter API and GlideQueryBreadcrumb. This is something new. So let's get started. Okay, so first and the foremost thing for the people who are not aware about it or who are not from the development background, what is encoded query? Okay, so an encoded query is a text string that represent filter condition. The same filter condition you build visually in the list view UI, but as a compact string. Okay, so if I want to show you how exactly it looks, right, so we will simply go to the incident table and you can see this is the filter I've put over there. State is new, priority is critical, active is true. Okay, if I run this thing out, it will filter out based on this particular query. Okay, and this is how it looks on the UI front. That state is new, pretty clear, right? But how exactly it's stored on the database side? So if I copy the query, this is how it gets stored on the database side. Let me query, and I do this. This is how it stores. Okay, so this is the foundation for today's tutorial. We have to understand this out. How exactly it gets stores on the table side. Okay, let me somewhat zoom in. So I will just go to okay, perfect. So now we'll start and keep one thing in mind that apply encoded query is not exactly like add encoded query. Okay, there's a difference between it. What is the difference? So what it does, okay, add encoded query filters record from the database, whereas apply encoded query sets field value on a record. It generally add encoded query is generally used before query. Okay, when you do gr.query, you use encoded query. When you use insert or update, you use apply encoded query. Add encoded query on iteration hits the database, but apply encoded query is in memory only. Okay, it doesn't hit the database directly. Okay, if you want to compare it up with a real life analogy, right, so you can consider this analogy that apply encoded query is a search filter on Amazon. Okay, which narrows down your down which products are shown. Okay, when you are searching on Amazon, while apply encoded query is a pre-filled record order form. So when you want to templatize the things, okay, you use apply encoded query. Perfect. So this is the difference. Now let's get started. Now let's start with some example. Okay, so we want to create an incident and we want to use an apply encoded query to set multiple field values in one line instead of setting each field separately. So if you look at this code, right, and I will just add, it's my blog. Okay, so I will add all this code over there. You will get all the codes handy over there. So consider apply encoded query, and what I'm doing, I'm just glide recording incident table. I just initialize, and what we generally do, okay, we simply put the values like category is software, incident priority equal to 2, incident static 1, impact is 2. But what if we want to do all these things into one line, right? That's where we use apply encoded query. So what I'm doing, I've removed this entire mess out. Okay, this entire mess out, and now I have just created encoded query for it, and I'm using gr incident.apply encoded query. I'll just part this into encoded query. If I want to add some more attributes like short description, I want to add, I can do that, and I can simply do insert after this. So this is how you use apply encoded query. And just for verification, I just printed the same thing, category and all those things, okay, for the new created incident. So let's try to execute this code out. Probably we'll get more clarity on that front. So if I take this code and we will go to the background script, and if I run this code, ta-da, it has created an incident with the number 10, okay, at the last. Okay, so it has already created an incident. So you can see the difference, right? That instead of writing multiple lines out there, we can just pass everything as a part of encoded query only. You use apply encoded query and it will get set on that particular record. Clear? And if you want to see this incident, we can see this also. No issue about that. So if I do all, and this is the one. Okay, the short description which I said, and category and all those things got populated from the apply encoded query. Let's look at one more example on the same. So let me remove this entire thing. Okay, so basically how exactly I use these things out. Okay, so consider similar to real world pattern. Okay, where an admin stores default value in a system property and the script read through property and apply it, so that we don't have to use hard coded values over there. Okay, so basically, for instance, if we have a property, okay, and we are setting it out into that property, some values into that property. So let me do that. So for an instance, let's create a property quickly. So I will just go and I'll go here, property, and let's create a new property so that your code get dynamic. Okay, so I've just set this particular property out and will give the value as category equal to network, priority equal to urgency. um, it's a string and we will give value category network, priority is 2, impact is 2, urgency is 2, and state is 1. Okay, and we submit it out. Now I go back to the code, and if I write this code out, so what I'm doing over here, look at this. Okay, here I'm just fetching the get property from the property. Okay, this incident tutorial incident default which we have just created, I will just print it out. Then what we are saying, if it's empty, then we are just throwing some error, just a error handling kind of thing. Now we have initialized incident record. Okay, I'm doing apply encoded query and I'm just taking that encoded query from the system property. The same thing, I'm adding some description if you want, and the same thing. This is also the way, okay, to make your code dynamic. I will not, or if you want, I can run this code quickly. The only thing from the previous code is like we are driving it through the system property over here. So if I run this through, you can see again the record got created with 11, the same encoded query. And if you see over here, applied encoded query was this particular thing. I have just pasted it out. So this is one of the day-to-day example. Okay, how I use this apply encoded query out. Let's go to some advanced thing. Okay, some advanced example. I really want to cover all the advanced example as a part of this tutorial. We will not do general daily codes kind of things. Okay, we'll go in some more depth. So let's simulate a template engine code. Okay, so based on category of the incident, a different encoded queries template is applied. So let me try to explain you out. So for an instance, we have this particular code. What we are doing, if the category is network, if for the incoming incident made be coming from any source, if the category is network, then we want to set this encoded query. If it's software, then we want to set this encoded query. If it's hardware, we want to choose this. So you don't have to do a lot of if else kind of things, right? If this, then set these things. And let's consider a simulation incoming incident that we are getting a JSON array of JSON with a category network and some description, category description, category description, category description. So what we generally do is like what we do, we will just check the category and then we will set the values if or else software, then again set the values else if hardware, again set the value. Will not do those things. Okay, now what we are doing, we have created a JSON for templates. Perfect. We have an incoming incident array of JSON. Now we are just iterating on top of it. Okay, I'm taking every incoming incident, I'm just iterating on top of it, and I'm checking, okay, for this particular incoming incident, what is the category. Okay, if the category is network, I want to create a record with this particular encoded query, apply query. Okay, that means I want to set this values to the newly created record. If it's software, this values, and so forth. Okay, so I'm just over here. If you see, I'm just iterating over this, and I'm creating a glide record in the for loop only. Glide record initialize, apply encoded query, and I'm just taking template query. Okay, from where we are getting template query. So it's template query is equal to template incoming category. Okay, so we are just pulling the category from this particular incoming incident, checking over here, and getting this particular encoded query, right? And creating the record. This is a day-to-day example which I generally do. Okay, I've done in one of my code. That's why I'm taking a reference for there, and I'm creating records. Isn't it funny? So how is it easy it is? So if I go to the background script, and now if I run the code, you can see 4 incident got created, and every incident will get created. See, you can see over here with the same template. Okay, the template which we have applied to it. Okay, so the template query for this one, for this particular one was this, and based on that the record got created. In the similar way for others also it got created. So this is how you can use this advanced in the advanced terms. Okay, all this condition what I was showing you. Now let's move. I hope the glide apply encoded query got clear. Most of the people know this, but I covered it out because I want to show how powerful it is and how we can use it out in our day-to-day life. Now the second filter is glide filter. So what glide filter do? Glide filter checks whether single glide record already in memory matches given encoded query condition. It does not run a database query. Just read through it. Okay. So whenever we fetch any glide record, okay, this particular function checks whether whatever encoded query we are passing is matching to that record or not. It's not running any database query. It evaluates the record current field values only. Perfect. Now let's understand with an example. Okay. So now what example? So your security guard at a VIP event with a checklist. When a guest arrives, you check them against the list. Okay. This is the traditional way. But what glide filter is that checklist check? It gives you yes and no answer instantly without going back to the office database. So you just provide the checklist in the form of encoded query. It will check and it will say whether that particular record matches it or not. Now, how we can represent this glide query? So there are two ways to represent query. One is a static, okay, simplest and most common, where we do glide filter dot check record, and we just pass gr record and encoded query. And the second way is we do glide record with encoded query, glide filter with encoded query, optional variable, optional label, and then we use match function to pass the record. And we can mark it false if the case is insensitive. If it's case sensitive, then we can make it true. Perfect. And it always returns boolean value, true or false. Now let's try to understand the glide filter API with an example. So we have a scenario where we want to load a real incident from your instance and check if it matches the condition using glide filter. So let's do that. I will copy this thing out. I will just paste it out. So look at this example. What we are doing over here. We are glide recording incident table. We are querying active equal to true. We just want one record, so we just set limit to one query. If incident is not there, we will say there is no active incident. Else, we are just giving all this information. Okay, that testing incident, priority, state, active category, blah blah blah. Okay. Now what we want to do, we have multiple conditions to be test on that particular record. Is that particular query, is that particular record is active? is priority 1, is priority out of 1 to 3. Okay, let's remove this one. Okay, it's wrong query. Okay, let's do not take this up. Okay, or is state equal to new, is assigned, is unassigned, all those conditions. Okay, we can have a number of conditions. Now this is an advanced way how we can use this particular code. Now if you want to do that, you want to do all these checks. Okay, how many lines of code you will require? Multiple, right? Okay, because you will do first check, then second checks. A lot of people will create separate function for all these things out. Okay, but now we will use the power of GlideFilter. So we have created JSON with a label of what condition is this, and we have created query for each. And then what we are doing for each condition, okay, for each condition we are taking that particular record and checking that record. So what we are doing, check record, glide the incident record which we'll get, and the query. So for every query we are checking, and then we are giving the output. If it matches, then we'll give true or yes. If doesn't matches, we'll give no. Pretty amazing, right? So many things. If just imagine if you want to write this code, how much line of code you will write. So I'll just copy this code out and let's try to execute. I'm not hard coding any incident. I'm just taking any active random incident. Okay. So if I run this out, look at this. The priority is 4. Okay. So first active is 1. Okay. That means it's an active record. Okay. So is active turned out to be yes. Now from the record, it's getting priority is 4. So we have a condition like is priority 1? No, it's not priority 1. Okay. Then the state came to be new. Okay. We have a condition is state new? Yes, it's new. Okay. It's coming from the filter query only. The next thing is it assigned? Okay. Is it assigned? So whether we have assigned to field or not. So we can see query also here. Assigned to is not empty. Okay. Is it assigned? No, it's not assigned. The reverse condition, just to cross verify, is unassigned. Yes, it's unassigned. Pretty amazing, right? So this is how you can use the GlideFilter API. Let's take one more example. Let's take some more advanced example on this front. So for an instance, you want to simulate a simple rule engine, okay, which loops through a list of rules, each with an encoded query condition, and check which one the incident matches to. Okay, now we are checking across all the incident, but now we want to check which one will match the incident. So I will just go copy the code and look at this. This is all the code I'm added to my PDAs. Okay, this is the live code and it's performing like anything. Okay, so it's not I'm just cooking up the things. These are actually a day-to-day scenarios kind of thing. So now what I did, I've created an array called escalation rows. Okay, now we have various escalation matrix out there, and we want to see if the incident is failing into which escalation matrix. Okay, so we have escalation rows, which is array of JSON. Okay, which has name, which is like critical priority escalation route. Okay, we have query and what action needs to be done. Okay, if any incident falls into this, so page on call manager immediately, like this. In a similar way, if it's a high priority unassigned, if it priority equal to 2 but assigned to is empty, auto assign to the default group, and so on and so forth. We have all this condition. Okay, now again what I'm doing, I'm going to incident, I'm just taking active incident. Okay, any active random incident. Okay, and setting limit to 1, query. If it's not there, no active incident found. Else what I'm doing, I'm just printing out priority category assigned to, so that we can see the output and confirm that the things are working fine or not. Okay, now I create a count variable match, which was 0. It will decide how many escalation rule it match. Okay, we'll come to know what the severity of this incident. Now what I'm doing, I'm just iterating through the escalation rules um, array of JSON. And here what I'm doing, for every escalation rule I'm checking whether that particular record is matching that rule or not. If it matches, okay, I'm just updating the count. Okay, and I'm just giving the information that rule match condition and what action needs to be taken. Okay, if it doesn't match, I'm just telling rule does not match and the rule name. Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple to understand, but if you try to do it with a primitive way, it will be really complex example. So let's try to um, run this code on background script and see. So if I run, now you can see we are evaluating. It's a random incident. Okay, it pulled. We are evaluating 9 number incident. Okay, which has priority 4, category software, assigned to is empty. Okay, so now rule not match critical priority. No, it's not a critical priority. Okay, rule match high priority unassigned. No, it's not priority 2, it's priority 4. Okay, it didn't match. Rule not match active network incident. It's not. Okay, it matched this one, active software incident, because the category is software. Okay, and it's an active software incident. So what we have to do, we have to notify the support team, software support team. The next one is rule match any active incident. Okay, so we have to just log into the monitoring dashboard. This is that amazing. Okay, now we have evaluated that incident across 5 rules, out of which 2 rules match. Isn't it amazing, these kind of things? Okay, this is how I use the power of code. Okay, this is how I script. So this is the example on the glide filter, how we can use the glide filter API. Now the part 3 of our tutorial is the glide query breadcrumb. Well, most of the people must have not heard about this. Okay, so what glide query breadcrumb does? Okay, so GlideQueryBreadcrumb converts a cryptic. Okay, that's why I've shown the encoded query in the start. Cryptic encoded query string into human readable sentence. So it automatically resolves these IDs, okay, to their values or to the display value, format date and time condition in the plain English, translate field name to the label, everything. So for instance, if you want to understand GPS, if you consider encoded query, I've just shown you encoded query some time back, right? Let's do that. Okay. Again, if I do show matching, then show matching, no, and what? Show matching and filter out kind of thing. Now, if I copy this query out, right? And if I show it to some developer, forget about the non-developer. Developer himself will not understand what exactly this query means, right? So basically, GPS gives you coordinator, okay, that it's 40.71 north, 74 west, okay. A reverse decoder give you the exact location, like it's a New York City, okay. So glide breadcrumb is a reverse geocoder, okay. It translates technical code into plain English. So let's try to understand this with an example. Take a simple encoded query, and we'll try to convert into a human readable format. So let's try this out with the query which we have just added. Okay, so if I do, you will come to know how amazing it is. So I will do variable query equal to whatever we copied right now. And now the syntax for this is variable breadcrumb equal to new query breadcrumb, and then breadcrumb dot get readable query, and this is a function, and it asks for two inputs. Okay, one is the table name. The table name for us is incident, and then the query will pass the query. Perfect. And we can store it in variable able query. Okay, now let's see, this is the encoded query. Okay, let's see what we'll get as a output for this info. And if I print table query, I'll just copy this entire code, we'll put it to the background, and let's try to run it out. It gives missing semicolon. Where? Oh, my bad, because it has a date component, right? So it get terminated on the first inverted comma only. So if I do, so now look at this. Are you able to understand this out? No, right? What is JavaScript, data generate, and all those things? Now it got converted into plain English that open on 26401, and short description is test DDD, and category is software, and assignment group is not equal to empty. Isn't it amazing? Right? Let's try to understand it with one more example. Okay, let's dig deep on this front, how we can use it out. So consider this example. How we have test queries. Okay, it's an array of JSON. Okay, and as I mentioned, we require two input parameters. One is table on which that query is, and the query. Okay, so I've created this array with the intention that we will cover all the types of entities into a encoded query. So for example, it's a simple single condition where active equal to true. Now it's a two condition with and. There's an and out there. We'll see how all the things get converted. Okay. Now it's a three condition where we have all we have and few other things. Now in fourth we have operator, in operator. Okay, and fifth we have is empty operator. You can see this queries, right? Whatever we can see over here. So what I'm doing over here, I'm just invoking the glide breadcrumb query breadcrumb. Okay, and I'm just iterating over this entire array of JSON, and I'm just making it encoded query, what how exactly the encoded query looks, and the readable format of that encoded query, how it looks. Okay, we'll see is if it's able to convert everything or not. So I just come over here, make it and run. So you can see act equal to true. It gave act equal to true, act equal to true, and priority equal to 1. In the readable format, you can see priority equal to 1 critical. 1, what someone will understand with 1. Now test 3, the encoded query is this, readable format is this, test 4 encoded query is this, state in, new, in progress, or on hold, and the last one is assigned to is empty. So this is how we can use this particular function. It also resolves SysID. If you are using reference fields and all those things also, it also resolves those things out. Let's try to understand the same with an example. So let's consider this example where it will resolve the SysIDs also. So what I'm doing over here, I'm just doing glide recon a sys group table. Okay, I'm just taking any active group, one set limit, one active group. Okay, if it's not there, just throwing error. If it's there, I'm just getting the SysID of that particular group and the name of that group. Now I'm just pasting over there, and based on this group SysID, I'm just creating an query that active equal to true, assignment group is the group SysID we got, and state equal to 1. I'm just creating a dynamic encoded query. Now I'm just info all those things. Okay, just to show you the output. Now what I'm doing, I'm just going to the incident table. I'm trying to get a record which match that means how this query will turn out, okay, as a readable query. How it will turn out as an encoded query and how it will turn out as a readable query. So let's copy this out, okay. Here I'm just making it readable. So encoded and readable we will see. And I go here, paste, and when I run this code, so you can see we got this particular group, analytics setting manager. Its SID is this, okay. Before glide query, the encoded query looks like this: act equal to true, assignment group is this, and sysID of the group equal to this, and state equal to 1. If we show this to user, they would see this particular thing, okay, this one, how it's, and that is completely readable. Now how it will look once we process it to glide query breadcrumb API is this: act is true, and assignment group is it automatically converted from sysID to analytics setting manager as state is new. So you can see the group name now instead of sysID. How fast it's converting. If you want to do this same, okay, do the same on the coding front, think of it how much efforts this will take. You have to just break all the and or condition, then you have to see if it's sysID, go to the respective table, get the display name of it and all those things out, but it is doing all this thing upfrontly for you. Now let let's try to do one more example, okay. So we want to simulate a real world audit log scenario, okay, where we will read encoded queries stored in system property and convert them into readable text and generate a formatted audit report all from the background. How we can do that, okay. So you will get more clarity when I bring code on the screen. So if I what I'm doing over here, okay. So here we are glide recording sys user table act equal to true. We just got one user, and if it says user there, okay, we are just taking the sysID, okay, and username is a display value. We got this. Then we queried the sys user group table. We are just getting it's the same thing we are doing. Act equal to true, and we are just getting one group over there. Now we have a report filter over here, okay, with report name. So open critical incidents. This is the most important. I'm using this particular logic for my notifications things, okay. Just go through it, okay. It's really amazing. So we have different reports name like open critical incidents and the encoded query for it. That act equal to 2, priority 1 is not equal to 6, state equal to not equal to 7. Then my team's incident, okay, which is assigned to the group, okay, the group society. Then unassigned high priority incident. For everything, for every report I have an encoded query, okay. Active caller for me, I'm checking for me, you can consider, or for any user. And we have all these reports out there. Now I have enabled a glide query breadcrumb API, and what I'm doing, I'm just going through that array, okay, getting everything out, okay, report table, and what table is there. So it name considers report name, table, and query, right? So I got two inputs, table and query. Now I'm converting into readable format those all the queries, okay. Once I create it into readable format, now I'm just generating the report for it, okay. How many count for what, okay. So for example, I'm going to report dot table, okay, putting the encoded query, querying it out, and just getting the count. So for each report which I put over here, for each report, how many records we have in the system, and I'm formatting it out like report name, which table, encoded query, inner readable encoded query, the readable filter, and how many records we have for that particular report. Why used to use this? I used to pass this information in the notification, okay, to the admins, okay, that okay, this is for this all reports, these are the analytics. Amazing, right? Okay, yeah. And it was pretty fruitful because it used to give them a holistic picture of what exactly is happening. Plus it's configurable, right? This JSON, what you can see over here, used to store the array of JSON into a system property. So if they want to add some more reports to it, they can do that also. So let's take this code out, and if I run it out, let's see how it goes. I hope I hope I'm not going too fast. If I'm going too fast, okay, you can just pause, try to understand the code, and then try to practice it on your own. So if I run, okay, now you see report 1. Look at the format it's going, okay. Report 1, open critical incident. The table is incident. Encoded query is act equal to true. Readable query, because sometimes they will not understand what exactly the query is, right? So act equal to true, they did this. And for this particular encoded query, number of matching records are 17. In the similar way, report to my team incident, okay. For my assignment group, okay, how many incidents are there? There is 0 incident for it. For unassigned high priority incident, we have 4 records. For incident by specific user, we have 2 records, and so on and so forth. Isn't it amazing? So this is how we can use this code. Okay, this is how we can use these 3 methods. So where I used to use this encoded query, sorry, GlideQueryBreadcrumb. You use it in notifications where you want to just pass the filter, okay, report filter in a readable format. You use on the widgets, okay, where you have filter on the widget but it's not understandable to the user. You can give it over there, and few other places like that, okay. On display message also, a lot of time query business rule have added this thing, so you can do all these things on this particular front, okay. So this is all for today's tutorial. In today's tutorial, we have looked into what exactly the encoded query. Then we have looked into apply encoded query function. We have looked into glide record, glide filter API, and then at last we have looked into glide query breadcrumb API with get readable query function. So this is all for today's tutorial. I hope you find it helpful. If you want me to create content on any topic, okay, please drop it in the comment. Probably I will try to create content on that front. But till then, stay safe, stay happy, and keep learning. Thank you. Have a nice day ahead.